Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SW Metro official channel.
Robyn Brown's pious victimhood has been utterly demolished in a court of law, as a jury delivered a scathing verdict that not only vindicates Meri Brown's years of whispered grievances but exposes a breathtaking pattern of alleged financial manipulation and fraud at the heart of the so-called loyal marriage. The air in the courtroom, thick with a decade's worth of unresolved familial tension and the palpable anxiety of the defendants, was finally pierced by the foreperson's solemn pronouncement of guilty, a single word that effectively functioned as a legal wrecking ball swung directly at the foundation of the Brown family empire, built precariously on the twin pillars of TLC paychecks and a carefully curated narrative of pluralistic perseverance. This was not merely a loss for Kody and Robyn, it was a wholesale repudiation of their character, their business practices, and the very story they have sold to the public since their debut on Sister Wives, transforming them from self-styled protagonists in their own drama into officially sanctioned antagonists facing severe financial penalties and a reputational ruin so complete it is difficult to envision a path to recovery. The case, which stemmed from Meri's courageous decision to pursue legal action over the mismanagement and alleged misappropriation of funds within their former family-owned businesses, particularly the defunct clothing venture MSWC, My Sister Wife's Closet, unraveled like a tightly wound spool of legal drama, with Meri's attorneys meticulously presenting a paper trail of dubious transactions, forged signatures on loan documents, and a consistent pattern of funds being funneled from communal family accounts all the wives contributed to from their shared TLC income, directly into the sole benefit of Robyn's household, funding a lifestyle of luxury real estate, expensive Victorian-era collectibles, and perpetual nanny services while other wives struggled financially. The trial itself became a brutal public autopsy of the Brown family's finances, laying bare the grotesque inequities that viewers had long suspected but could never prove. Bank statements revealed that while Janelle was living in a tiny apartment and Meri was leveraging her successful LuLaRoe business to stay afloat, significant six-figure sums were being transferred to accounts solely controlled by Kody and Robyn, ostensibly for business investments or family expenses, but which, under cross-examination, Kody could not coherently account for, his trademark arrogance evaporating into a muddle of contradictions and flop sweat-induced amnesia. The star witness for the prosecution, unsurprisingly, was Meri herself, who took the stand with a quiet dignity that stood in stark contrast to the hysterics often displayed by Robyn in the courtroom's gallery, and her testimony was devastatingly precise. She detailed how her initial investment in MSWC, a venture she never believed in but supported out of familial obligation, was not only lost but how additional funds she was promised as a return were never materialized, and how when she asked to see the books, she was met with gaslighting, emotional blackmail, and accusations of disloyalty from Kody and Robyn, who weaponized their status as the functional marriage to guilt her into silence. Her most chilling allegation, which the evidence overwhelmingly supported, was that her signature had been forged on several key documents to secure lines of credit for MSWC, leveraging her credit and her share of the family income without her explicit knowledge or consent, a classic definition of fraud that the jury found impossible to ignore. For years, Robyn has positioned herself as the delicate, emotional core of the family, the peacemaker who only ever wanted harmony, but under the unforgiving glare of legal scrutiny, that persona crumbled to dust, revealing a calculating and remarkably savvy businesswoman who, with Kody as her willing accomplice, orchestrated the financial erosion of her sister wives to cement her own primacy. Text messages entered into evidence showed Robyn casually directing Kody to move money from a family operating account to one earmarked for the mortgage on her $1 million mansion in Flagstaff, referring to the other wives' contributions as communal obligations while simultaneously insisting her own assets remain separate and protected. The infamous family mission statement, often mocked by fans, was presented by the prosecution as a cynical tool of control, a document used to enforce compliance and shame any wife who questioned the financial status quo into submission. The verdict, therefore, is not just about the money, though the monetary judgment is said to be astronomical, potentially into the millions when damages and penalties are calculated. It is about truth. It validates every side-eye Janelle ever gave, every frustrated comment Christine made about not being able to afford groceries while Robyn bought another Precious Moments figurine, and every lonely, bewildered moment Meri spent wondering why she was being iced out of a family she helped build. The fallout is immediate and cataclysmic. TLC has already announced the indefinite pause of Sister Wives, a diplomatic term for cancellation, as the network can hardly continue to promote a family whose patriarch and one of its matriarchs are now convicted of fraud against another member of their own plural union. The social media sphere, long divided into fiercely partisan camps of Team Christine or Team Robyn, has erupted in a firestorm of "I told you so" from Meri's supporters, who feel a profound sense of justice for the woman who endured the humiliation of a catfishing scandal only to be blamed for it by the very people who were systematically robbing her. Kody Robyn, a man whose identity is entirely consumed by his performative masculinity and his role as a television patriarch, has been legally neutered, his authority exposed as not just emotionally bankrupt but criminally fraudulent, the image of him leaving the courthouse, his famous curls limp, his face ashen, flanked by stone-faced lawyers while Robyn sobbed into a tissue behind him, is the definitive final image of his reign, a perfect metaphor for a kingdom built on sand that has now been washed away by the tide of truth. For Meri, this verdict is a moment of profound and hard-won liberation. It is the legal and moral divorce she never got from Kody, a final, undeniable severing of the ties that bound her to a man and a system that exploited her loyalty for financial gain. She is no longer the discarded first wife, the pathetic hanger-on, she is the victor, the truth-teller, the woman who had the courage to stop whispering in confessionals and start speaking in a court of law, and in doing so, she didn't just win a case, she reclaimed her narrative, her integrity, and her future. The verdict is a shock only to those who believed the carefully edited version of events presented on their show. For anyone who looked closer, who saw the dissonance between the proclaimed principles and the lavish reality of the loyal wife's home, it is a moment of stunning, satisfying, and long overdue justice. The gavel has fallen, and its echo is the sound of a legacy shattered. Janelle Brown of Sister Wives finally starts construction on her new house. At last, Janelle Brown starts construction on her new house. When Janelle Brown realized she and her husband, Kody Robyn, had no future, it was time to go on. It was obvious that they were at different stages of life after being his second wife for almost 30 years. Furthermore, Janelle understood it was time to move on since she could not see anything romantic with Kody. It was a logical step since Christine Brown Woolley, the former third wife, had already left the multiple family. Maddie Brown Brush, Janelle's daughter, had established herself in North Carolina. The Sister Wives star decided to move there as a result. After purchasing land for a farm that was much beyond their means, Janelle is now starting construction on a new house. She posted a video of a tractor passing through her farm area about 1 month before to the season 20 launch. It's named Tata, and she mentioned that after a long wait, they've made headway. It is unclear if she is finally obtaining her dream home or if they are starting construction on the agricultural area so they can begin planting. The fact that Janelle had nothing and could not give her children an inheritance was one of her main problems. She noticed that Christine had a small nest egg after selling her Flagstaff house. Janelle, on the other hand, solely leased flats before purchasing an RV. Janelle also insisted that the Sister Wives family begin construction on their property near Coyote Pass. That dream fell through, but she knew she would have something and never be without it. In the new season, the Browns appear to sell their land, but not without problems. Love and assistance. Fans of Sister Wives were ecstatic to learn that Janelle Brown and her family had begun construction at Tata Farms. They witnessed how hard they worked to get the business up and going and how much sweat went into getting to this point. All of the effort is now paying off, and supporters have been nothing short of encouraging. The family declared that they had received their agricultural permits on August 12, 2025. As a result, they would soon begin turning their aspirations into reality.